Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about The Woman in the 19th Century by Margaret Fuller. Now, before I go into the summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, The Woman in the 19th Century by Margaret Fuller. Very interesting work here. There's a lot that's being said about women here. Margaret Fuller, definitely within the 19th century, talks about here how women, did not have the freedom that they have today. Roles for women was, you got married early. Um, you were a mother, you were a wife, you were a caretaker. That was pretty much the roles for women in 19th century America, and even parts of the 20th century. Women that was their jobs. You got married, you became a mother, and you took care of people. So all the jobs that were for women, they all mostly revolved around taking care of your family or other people's families or doing, housework and things like that. And Margaret Fuller here, she argues that it's not that this is by nature, because for a long time, a lot of people believed that women's roles in society was to be mothers, wives, and caretakers, and that was by nature. But she argues that it's not by nature, that this is a societal structure. And it was a societal structure for most of human history. That's the deal. Men went out to do the terrifying jobs in the wild, like hunting animals. I mean, if we go way, way back to the, early human civilization, the men went out to hunt, and you may not come back because animals kill. And then the women would be responsible for the community, food, child rearing, things like that. So it was a separation of tasks. And for a long time in human history, that's how it was. Men did all these heavy labor, grueling tasks that pretty much you could die. You were a soldier, you were a farmer, you were in the field, you went out to war. I mean, it was just high, these jobs that pretty much a lot of times required you to get hurt or die. Um, and that's how it was for a very long time. Now, when people like Margaret Fuller come along, and you're starting to see different jobs in society like publishing and offices, and going out to get a job, factories and things like that, it didn't require, a high level of mortality. Then the idea started to change. Well, why couldn't women uh, go into the workforce? Why, it's no longer, um, you know most likely a death sentence, because again, for a long time in human history, it was survival of the fittest. If you didn't have, before medicine and vaccines and hospitals and all that kind of stuff, it was literally survival of the fittest. I mean, you could just literally go outside and die, because until hospitals were became hospitals, and they were reliable, going out to work with wild animals and in fields mostly mean that you most likely would probably catch a disease and die. So for a long time, this wasn't questioned. It was just a way of life. Now, Margaret Fuller, she has some different ideas. She says, in order for us to be a just society, a perfect society, or not a perfect society, but a better society, women need to be equal to men. Marriages need to be equal. Society needs to recognize women as women. And there's a lot of debate here. Let's be very honest. There's a lot of critique for Margaret Fuller's work. Um, you know, it's not all just people agreeing with her. There's a lot of critique of her work. Because, yes, with women entering publishing and women writing and women going into art and into medicine, into engineering and law and things like that. We've built a better society where more voices are heard, where it's not one-sided. And there's definitely different fields and different companies that have come along that have been motivated or created by women, and society has changed. So today, I mean, you do see women. Women are involved in everything from law to medicine to art to music to everything. I mean, definitely, we've seen lots of great works from female writers and artists and things like that. Um, and some of the things that she wanted, they did come true. I mean, you even have women's suffrage and things like that. Um, uh, the thing that was most controversial with works like this by Margaret Fuller was her views on marriage, on going against traditional marriage. Yes, most early marriages, it was women were subordinate. You got married, you had kids, and you took care of your husband. And her thoughts on that did get a lot of pushback because she wanted, unions to be less traditional and more equal in terms of, um, you know, women and men just having an equal relationship. But I mean, now in modern days, not everybody agrees with that because some women love working, some women want to be, independent and have a partner that is independent like them and they can work together. But other women want to be stay-at-home mothers and have a husband that takes care of everything and they just take care of their kids. So it's not just a blanket statement that all women want to be independent and um, be a CEO. Some women do want to stay home and take care of their kids and homeschool their kids and take care of the family. It really becomes a personal issue. So it's not something that you can just say that Margaret Fuller is right and then that's it. So this is why her work was so controversial because not every woman saw, those times as, oppression and slavery. Because Margaret Fuller goes that far to say that, some of this is even slavery, that, these women are captives and enslaved by their husbands. And first of all, um, they got married and nobody forced them to marry anybody. These women, there's no literature that said that women were enchained and given to their husbands. These women, got married. They had weddings. They believed in, you can read the literature. I mean, women did fall in love and married their husbands and they had families. No one was like, um, this is your husband, that's it. The society has been set up this way. It wasn't like men were enslaving women. So I think that was a little outrageous in terms of deeper meaning and analysis. There's some things in here that's a little outrageous when you go and start talking about slavery and marriage and society. Because for the most part, around the world, um, yes, there was more societal pressures, but for the most part, in most countries, women wanted to get married. It wasn't enslavement, so that was kind of wild. Um, so ultimately, when we get to the meat and bones of her work here with this work, what she's saying is that in order for us to have a better society, in order for us to grow as human beings, in order to see society flourish, like it is, I would say in 2025, women would need to have an opportunity to enter the workforce, to have a political voice, to be independent, and that's how that all has been achieved in America today. In many countries today, women can work, women can own property, women can be independent. They can choose to get married or not to get married. It's all here. So, I mean, has society gotten better? Yes, you've seen there's a lot of female artists, actors, writers, doctors. It's made society a much more better place. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that everything she said was correct because, again, there's some women that and that do enjoy, because we're all different, we're all human beings, we all have different opinions. There's some women that do enjoy being married and being stay-at-home mothers and taking care of their kids. There's some women that just want a tribe like that, and others that want to be CEOs. So it's not just a one-sided bias type of thing. So very interesting work. That's all I had to say about it. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.